Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah. Wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Duniyo. I hope you're well. So I'm giving a feedback video, creating a quick feedback video to every teacher as I process the materials of their observation. Okay, so Sister, there's still a lot of things to work on in the classroom. I want to make some, I put together some things as kind of a pointed plan of 3 things that really need to start happening in the classroom and 1 thing to focus on that needs to be cut out of the classroom. And, you know, based on a few observations now and our talking with one together and my having modeled some things in the classroom for you, as well as shared some other resources and videos, I have a feeling of a bit of a sense of urgency for these things to start being implemented for the sake of the experience of the students in the classroom. First and foremost, being consistent with As-Suffah's mission and values, and for the sake of the quality of the education that the kids are receiving. Okay, so to go down here, you'll have gotten this email from me, the feedback and evaluation form. Okay, I have this section, improvement plan focus. Excuse me. Okay, first is on being calm, just in general, especially with your nonverbal communication, but your tone of voice as well, being calm in the classroom. We talked about this. I shared a video of you that was similar to training that the other teachers have gotten before that you might have missed, that focuses on nonverbal communication, of which the central point of all of it is being calm and giving techniques of what you do with your breathing, your facial expression, your body language, etc. Okay, that the kids, there's a lot. The kids are experiencing a lot of agitation and dysregulation in the classroom. It's very visible. It's very audible as well, and some of the evidence I'll show you from the classroom indicates that. And what the kids experience reverberates off of the teacher, always. And you need to take control of this because you're not going to have control over the class without doing this. So that's thing number 1. Okay, thing number 2 is being clear, explicit, and visual when you communicate expectations to them and behavior expectations. Okay, this is another thing we talked about. And we talked about not using indirect communication, one form of which is saying, I like how so-and-so is doing something. Another form of that I really made a point of focus with my evaluation of this, and it is the thing that I want you to cut out, is asking shaming rhetorical questioning, okay, as a form of redirecting behavior. So, for example, asking kids, how are we supposed to be sitting? Is our mouth supposed to be moving? What are your feet? Where are your feet supposed to be? Are we supposed to be touching our paper? Are we supposed to be making a deal out of it? And you'll see here I have this whole section where I broke down the transcript of the audio of the time that I was in the class on Monday. And over a 30-minute period, the kids were asked these questions more than 30 times, more than 1 per minute. And those questions, especially when they are delivered with this tense tone, number 1, they put too much cognitive load on the kid. There is too much open room for interpretation of what it means. And because it's not a direct form of communication, okay, because it's a rhetorical question and it's giving directions implicitly as opposed to directly, it carries along with it the message that there's all kinds of implication to what I'm saying. And that gives the kids all kinds of things to think about. Is she mad at us? Does she hate us? Is she going to take our recess away? All this type of stuff. And this disables the kids from being able to be relaxed. And you start to hear and see all kinds of signs of lack of self-control and dysregulation on them when this goes on, and it's just going on way too much in the classroom, and you need to make it an explicit point to cut it out, please. You did it excessively in the time I was in there, and it was patently not effective in redirecting the kids' behavior or getting control of the classroom. So there is no evidentiary reason to continue using it. Rather, the opposite exists. The evidence shows that you should stop using this as a verbal form of communication and a behavior management strategy with the kids. And I ask you to please stop it and to not do it with the kids anymore. I want that to be communicated very, very directly. I wrote it down here at the bottom because age 6, 7, first grade, it's a fragile age. It's a very big developmental age. The kids are forming their initial experience in elementary school and as learners here. So the negative emotions and the dysregulation on the part of the kids that comes with this has implications for their entire school experience and for their long-term impression of themselves as learners and what their experience at school is. And I don't want the kids having that, the negative consequences of that experience, okay? Now, I'll talk more explicitly about, but we've talked a lot about about giving directions visually, and being very, very explicit and clear and direct with what you want them to do, so there's no room for ambiguity. This type of questioning and indirect forms of communicating education, it signals a negative attitude to the kids. It signals that you're agitated with them. And because it leaves so much room for ambiguity, it doesn't set the kids up to be successful with it. Okay. Now the third thing is enabling all the students to be active and participating in learning, so that they're doing more than being asked to sit properly, especially when you're trying to talk to them or when you're instructing them. Now I thought I modeled this very, very well in the class that I taught for you. I showed explicitly some ways that you can ask them to communicate non-verbally, yes or no, with the thumbs up, thumbs down. You put 4 things on the board, 3 things on the board. Is it 1, 2, 3, or 4? They can show with your hands. You tell them sometime, okay, I'm going to ask you some questions. I want the whole class respond to you. I'm going to say, class, tell me. Okay, this is what I did at the beginning of class. You said it was beneficial listening to the audio. That's great. Re-listen to it, please. We will work more of these things on our upcoming PD day. But it's important that the kids are doing more things that are structured and that they can do and that are predictable, other than just being asked to sit properly. All right, so let's listen to a minute of audio from the class.
We're not laughing. Okay, listen, guys. We have a test tomorrow, guys. I really want your attention for a few minutes. Okay, just for a few minutes.
20 minutes? A few minutes means 20 minutes.
Okay, now, again, saying I want your attention for a few minutes, that is vague, and that is general as far as what the expectations should be. This is why on the lesson plan template for each section of the lesson, you're supposed to explain what the kids are supposed to be doing with their feet, with their hands, like very explicitly, physically what they're doing. Because if you know what you want them to be doing during that time, you can communicate that to them physically. You heard a kid say, you said just for a few minutes, and one kid said, and a few minutes is vague language. And one kid said, a few minutes means 20 minutes to another kid when he said that. So, this kid is 6, 7 years old, and he has this salty attitude. In class, it speaks to what his emotional experience is in the classroom right now.
What are you doing? Okay, in the next instruction that I have to ask to sit properly, I'm taking time of your recess. Because now we're wasting way too much. I'm not going to keep asking you. Because you're wasting my time now. I'm repeating myself too many times. Your eyes are supposed to be facing the board right now.
Okay, the communication with the eyes, that is good and explicit. That's nice. It's telling that if you break down the class, the times that you threatened to take recess away, it turned them around for like a few seconds, but it wasn't long after that they got agitated. So we've talked about how relying on those types of consequences, those types of negative consequences, it has a diminishing returns effect, where it becomes ineffective after a while. And then you got to keep using it and doing it all the time, and it seems like your class is experiencing that. Because even when you said that, the kids settled down a little, but you can still hear kids like humming and this type of stuff. That is signs of emotional agitation and dysregulation in them, and them resorting to things to try to calm themselves down, because they're feeling insecure in the environment.
And you're supposed to, where's your feet supposed to be? Yeah, this is funny, right? Okay. No, it's fine.
Okay, where's your feet supposed to be? And saying like, that's funny, right? You know, that's kind of mocking the kids. And, you know, why not just tell them exactly where their feet are supposed to be and maybe demonstrate it? Okay, now I want you to compare this.
I repeated myself way too many times.
And the thing is, too, you said, like, just before this, you said, I'm not going to ask you guys again. And then within the minute, within 30 seconds, within 20 seconds, you said, you asked them another question. So, I mean, even that was inconsistent, okay? Now, I want you to compare this to the start of the class that I taught you, okay? I need for you to do, and what you have to do is, firstly, make sure that your feet are on the floor. Your feet should not be on that chair. Secondly, because you have to look up here, I want you to kind of, unless you're this guy, I want you to kind of back out from your chair a little bit and turn a little bit so you can face me. And it's really easy. Look, let's do it calm. Let's do it slow. Very good. Got almost everyone positioned looking up here. Maybe need one or two students to be turned in their chair. So they are looking up here. Very good. Now, class. Okay, now a few things that are different there. Okay, first of all, taking them through what they're supposed to be doing piece by piece. Okay, your feet are supposed to be on the floor. So I said that instead of get your feet off the chair, because there's a few kids who have their feet on the chair. And then, you know, instead of where your eye's supposed to be, okay, I had them piece by piece. Back out slowly, turn your chair here. Okay, my talking was a little more slowed down. So it was calmer and taking them piece by piece. And because it was explicit, clear, slowed down, and I was being visual, because when I said feet on the floor, I put my hands towards the floor. And with the backing out, okay, like this was being visual. Because it was visual, explicit, and calmly delivered, the kids were able to do it properly and easily. And that gave me the opportunity to say to them, very good. And what I just played you there, those 45 seconds, I was able to say very good to them 2 times. So when you're calm, visual, and explicit with the expectations, it sets the kids up for success to do it right. And then when they do it right, then you get the opportunity to praise them. And then the classroom starts feeling good. And you start setting a foundation for the kids to be more emotionally regulated when that happens. So it's extremely important, sister, that you start doing this in the classroom, okay? You need to cut out that rhetorical shaming questioning. You need to cut it out. When you want the kids to do something, you need to be visual, calm, and very, very explicit, meaning you say exactly physically what you want them to be doing, okay? And, you know, sitting properly, you get them started that way, and then you wrap them into the learning. Now, look, there was one point in the class where you see here where you showed them how you wanted them to sit. You showed them you wanted their hands like this. I took this picture just after that, and you gave the nonverbal too of being quiet. And when you were visual like this one time that you were visual, the kids did it right away. And right after I took that picture, I took this picture, and the kids were sitting properly. And it was visual, and it was easy for them to do, okay? But this happened about 36 minutes or even more. Yeah, it's about 36 minutes into the time I was in the class. And prior to that, they had gotten over 30 of these shaming rhetorical questions. So, like, it would have been better to just begin like this. Just begin with how you want them to sit by showing them visually, because that is what allows them to do it most easily. Now, compare this picture to this picture. Okay, you see these 2 pictures? This one was taken earlier in the classroom, okay? This is the one after your visual with the expectations. This was one, earlier when you were talking to them, trying to go over the math problems, okay? You see the difference in how they are, okay? During this time, you were telling them to sit properly too, or asking them, how are we supposed to be sitting? In this picture, you see so many signs of agitation and emotional dysregulation from the kids, okay? If you watched the video that I sent you on nonverbal communication, I talk in there about how the limbs being up shows agitation in nonverbal communication, and therefore we need to be careful when we do it with kids. And when kids do it, it shows that they are agitated. I show a classroom, it's older kids, but you see it from all ages. If you watch that video, I show a classroom where a teacher is like being emotionally dysregulated himself, and the kids start doing exactly what you see the kids here doing. Okay, they got their hands over their head. This guy's got his hands on his head. I don't know if I can get it over here. Okay, you see this guy and his facial expression is exasperated. Okay, this guy is looking on the floor. He's not facing forward. This girl's out of her seat. This girl's got her hands up. You know, all types of things because the kids are emotionally dysregulated. Now, like you see this guy right here. Okay, he's got this look of agitation. These guys look like they're kind of goofing off. Goofing off is a coping mechanism for kids that they do when the adult is agitated in the room or when the adult is not regulated his or herself emotionally. Not all kids do it that way, but some kids, that's what they do. And again, going back to the theme of like, you know, forming the impression that these kids have of themselves as learners and their experience in school, some of those kids are learning that school is a frustrating, agitating experience for me where I can't be successful and I'm constantly being shamed by the adult. Other kids, you know, I mean, most of them are experiencing they can't be, except for very few of them, they're experiencing they can't be successful. And for some of them, especially some of the boys, their coping with that is by being goofy. So they're learning the way I get by in school is by being goofy and by being kind of a class clown. And then that's something that will only grow. So you need to relax yourself. You need to learn how to relax. You need to force yourself to relax. First and foremost, watch the video that I gave you on nonverbal communication. Practice the breathing techniques that are taught in it. Keep your limbs to your side. And you need to be relaxed with how you conduct yourself in the classroom because the kids feed off of it. Okay, contrasting this picture with this picture, okay? This is where you're trying to teach and trying to get the kids to listen. Like, you can see the agitation in yourself here, okay, with the limbs out and in the tension on your face. So what is seen in you is seen in the kids. Okay, the kids ultimately mirror what the teacher does. They do it in their, you know, a form appropriate to their age level. But this is why nonverbal communication is such a big thing, and emotional regulation is such a big thing. Okay, because the kids can feel it in the classroom. You know, when your heart rate changes, especially when it increases, it can actually be measured in the electromagnetic field around you up to 6 feet. So, you know, that's just to say, like, it's something, there's actually a physical experience to it, even though you're not, like, directly touching kids or anything, that the kids can actually feel what an adult is like. And it just affects their experience in school. Okay, so please read through this, this feedback and evaluation, okay, especially this part where I went through the transcript and marked exact points on where you use this type of questioning, just to show how frequent it was, because we don't always realize what we're doing in the moment, but I need you to realize it. And then please look at these 3 focus areas. Please watch the videos closely and take notes on them that I shared with you earlier. You know, please re-listen to the class I modeled for you, which you said you benefited from as an example. And, you know, just make each 3 of these things, okay, at least the first 2, okay, at least being calm and being visual and explicit with expectations. Please make those things a priority to implement in the classroom. And the indirect communicating of expectations, I've talked to you about it multiple times. It was written about in the first feedback I gave from your first walkthrough. We talked about it in our coaching session together. We did in the teaching room. And I'm reiterating it here. Please cut that stuff out because it's not effective and it's just key to improving the experience of the kids in the classroom. Okay? Barakallahu fiki, jazakallahu khair, wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.